Yes, the intro supreme, honor and glory fit for the king. Yeah, said it's the intro supreme, we're making it fit till he splits through the seam.
Me and Stract, we back at it again. Estamos en la cocina with a pad and a pen. Whoa, Jesus Christ, he ain't died for your sins. Repent and believe the gospel is the burn in the end. We bring the ruckus, listen as we discuss his wrath and grace over some rowdy beats so the sun gets maximum praise. And every single line that we spit and we pray and it hits you hard like we rolling critical hits.
Delivering his essence with metaphysical spits, declaring he exists with a lyrical twist. But he done told us how it is, so we stick to the scripts. Like Acts from Luke in the cage, I will still insist and resist any list given by the world. No risk, this abyss I will never miss. Go fish for a linguist to expose this. He freed Will from locks to give Jay the kiss.
Yes, the intro supreme, honor and glory fit for the king. Yeah, said it's the intro supreme, we're making it fit till he splits through the seam.
I was an addict enslaved after my passions I craved. One taste of the poison I was faded and dazed, until I happened to gaze on the Son of God who was hanged upon a cross for my sins, and on day 3 he was raised up from the pit of destruction and placed on the rock. I used to worship a drug, now I worship my God. Now I feel it in my bones and my heart burns to proclaim his excellence till the day of the Lord's return.
When he returns, it's a rap like I'm Cool G, smoothly riding waves, although they may move me. Truly, I'll be the weak one to soon be seen doing me, wondering why did he choose me? Ooh, we be the types I wanna run away, but when dudes pop off, do we put our gun away? I'm trying to minister to self like I'm young Clay, headed for the draft, never dodge what the sun say.
Yes, the intro supreme, honor and glory fit for the king. Yeah, said it's the intro supreme, we're making it fit till he splits through the seam.
And yo, we eager to give you quality flow. Yeah, exegetically excellent are these seeds that we sow. Christ is at the center of every bar, you should know. We pray he waters your heart and causes actual growth. And if you find your head nodding to every song, do please don't tell us we're dope, but give all glory to God. We're more than thankful that you've given us your time. Please pray to the Lord that he would also change our hearts and minds.
So extract me and Buchanan from the beat. Let us know and we'll go wherever you wanna meet. Beautiful feet, it's the good news you wanna peep. We put your face to the book while you seeking a tweet over Instagram, so you hover the heat, but your heart already rock while you suffer defeat. We need the blood that flows, giving life to those who acknowledge that the dirty, cause it's what the light shows.
In the mix with DJ Average Joe.
I'm just an average Joe.
Don't worry about who this is, man.
All right, everyone. What's good? What's good?
What up, dude?
Yo, all right. I love the way they're scratching off at the end, man. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the basement here on Wrath and Grace. Make sure you go to our website at wrathandgrace.com where you can actually get the album we're going to review today. It's also on iTunes. That's how I bought it. So make sure you support. Go to iTunes, go to any platform, and check out the album Supreme by Stract and Ian Buchanan. And so right now, we are going to get into this. But before that, go to wrathandgrace.com. Make sure you do that. And also, we go on every Wednesday at 9 p.m. here on the basement on Wrath and Grace. We also have other podcasts. We have Cross Examine. We have Wrath and Grace Radio. If you want more information on that, go to wrathandgrace.com and check out those other podcasts we have. Share and like the video today here on facebook.com/Wrath and Grace. Spread the word. Let people know about this album review we're doing. And so we have the artists that actually did the album. And so we have a ton of questions for them. And we're just going to go through the album together to get more in depth with the album and hear from the MCs themselves. And so right now, we're going to also have Ian Buchanan here with us. He's on the line. And so right now, let me put them on the screen.
Sasson.
Yeah.
What's up, everybody?
All right, so now everyone can see us. And again, the album review Supreme with Stract and Ian Buchanan. That's what we're doing today here on Wrath and Grace. Welcome, everybody. And so I'm going to let my man Wayne take it from there. So, yeah.
Yo, what's up, y'all? We are back again, and we got two dope artists with us. Stract And
What up?
Ian Buchanan. What's going on, y'all?
What's up?
Ian, where are you right now? Where you're in PA somewhere?
I'm stuck in Quarantine, Pennsylvania.
Quarantine, Pennsylvania. Yeah.
Hey.
I think I've been there before.
No, I live right outside of Philly in Delaware County.
Okay, got you. Yeah, so that's what's up. That's what's up. Glad we could have you via tech. Somehow we've been using tech more than I would like to, but you know, it is what it is, right? We got to do it.
I could join. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Stract, what's up, man?
What's going on, brother?
This is your 4th time in the basement.
Brothers. Yeah,
Brothers.
4th time. Like, you know, I'm like a co-host up in here, man.
Yes, you
What's
are.
going on?
Yeah. Chilling, man. We're glad to be back with another album review. Or this is actually a mixtape, right?
Nah, it's an album.
It's an album.
It sounds
Okay.
like a mixtape, though, don't it?
Yo, I was gonna ask you that
took me
because
back, yeah.
as I'm listening to it, I'm like, I told Los, I said, is this a mixtape or what? Because they got the classic scratch off. Y'all had was that a DJ that was doing that, or that was
That's
just one of
DJ
y'all?
Average Joe, man.
DJ Average
Sir.
Joe.
The legendary.
Yeah, he mixed all the tracks one into the other.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what's up, man. So, well, let me ask y'all this: is this the first time that Wrath and Grace and Christcentric has gotten together for a project?
For an entire project, I believe so. Yeah.
I was thinking that to myself, like this might be the first of a couple to come, probably.
Yeah, there's been a lot of collaborative work done between the two. But yeah, I think for an entire project, you know, I mean, Wrath and Grace really has not been around musically that long.
Right.
You know, it's
right.
fairly new. Christcentric is 20 years in the game.
Dang.
So,
Yeah.
you know, Wrath and Grace is making their mark. And you have Ian Buchanan doing his thing.
That's
Amongst
what's up.
other dope artists.
That's what's up. How did that work, getting the two groups together? I mean, everybody's pretty much connected with each other, right?
Yeah, go ahead, Ian.
Yeah, so Abner started working with Christcentric. What was it, about a year before I started working with Wrath and Grace?
Yeah, it was back in, I think, 2017.
Yeah, so you were very new, and Jay, you know, really liked what you were doing, and I got introduced to Jay through Tim, and at some point Zay had reached out to me, and you know, we just all thought it would be a really great idea to collaborate and kind of, you know, make a mark and get some music out, and it was a good time.
Or yeah, that was definitely be one of my questions, was who called who to initiate all of this.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story. There's like a whole lot involved in that process.
That's like Inception. It's like a story and a story and a story.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. It definitely was in the beginning the handiwork of Zay the Blacksmith.
Okay.
As far as bringing us together. Yep.
Yes.
Even though Ian and I have known each other for years already. I mean, we did music together back in the day. So we used to go to the same church together where Los was a pastor. So we've known each other for a long time. But as far as the musical aspect and having a somewhat of a platform with Wrath and Grace and Christcentric, Zay's the one that kind of made that happen by phone call.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
I like the artwork. I'm always checking out artwork. I think that's one of the lost arts today, which is finding a nice piece of something to put on that front cover. Who came up with that?
That was Ian's brainchild.
For real?
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, we, you know, everybody threw out some ideas, and, you know, I'd been talking to Jay about some of the ideas I had, and, you know, I took a bunch of images offline of, like, you know, wide angle camera shots of, like, really old tree trunks with, like, the roots exposed, you know, artist renditions of what the tree of life may have looked like. There are these really weird trees, I don't know what they're called, but they have red saps, and when you cut into them, it looks like they're bleeding.
Word.
You know, so kind of like when we talk about in the scriptures where on the cross, you know, Jesus nailed, you know, the legal demands that stood against us. So this idea that, there's this nail right in the middle of redemptive history, nailed to this tree, the blood coming down into the river of life. We just kind of took all those pieces and sent them over to Jay, and he got them to an artist, and that's a wrap. That's the end of the story.
Yeah, I noticed on one side of the tree it says sin, misery, and death.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
then on the other side, which I looked at it and was like, is that the disease tree and then the healthy tree type thing? I was trying to make sense of it because on the other side it was eternal life, salvation, redemption, majesty, glory.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I was trying to figure it out, but I saw there was a lot of detail in the cover.
It's, there's a lot from each song that's kind of painted in that picture. If you've listened to the song Judgment Tree,
Right.
by a tree, God cursed man for his sin and rebellion. And by a tree, that curse fell on Jesus. And through him, we can eat from the tree of life. And so, that's just one of the images just from one of the songs in the album art.
That's what's up. Speaking of Judgment Tree, that was probably my favorite highlight from you, Ian. The way you came off on that joint, yeah, you just killed that, man. It was a dope track. And even the feature with Timothy Brindle, how'd that come about?
I originally wrote the hook, and I thought it was decent, and then and Jay was like, you know what we should do? We should change it up a little bit. Let's get Tim to do the hook. And I was like, okay. And I mean, honestly, like, I'm not the best at writing hooks, and so I was super open to that. And I was really happy to have Tim on that track. So it was a good thing.
That's what's up, man.
Nice.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, that was definitely my favorite verse from you on the project. I mean, you were out of 10 tracks, I think you were on 9 of them, and you did a great job on all of that.
Thanks, man.
That was the first thing that Ab asked me when he first came in was who spit harder between y'all two. No, I'm messing. First thing he asked me though was, what'd you think of the project?
Whoa.
It was a Watch the Throne type of moment, man. That's what's up. How did y'all go about the beat selection?
That's a whole.
That's you.
That's a whole nother. This album has a whole lot of pieces that have been used. That we're like, this is kind of like the Frankenstein project.
Okay,
You know what
this
I'm
was
saying?
part of a bunch of different projects. Y'all just threw it together.
This was so T. Wilder had gotten together with Zay, and I might be exposing a little bit too much, but let me just cut it short. So these beats were originally for Zay the Blacksmith and done by T. Wilder. And then when Zay approached us to do the project together, he took some time off to spend with his family and to kind of consider life before the Lord and what has been going on at that time. Zay has a crazy job. He's a dope fireman. So he faces life and faces challenges that we could not imagine. So during that time, he dropped off the map and decided to, and this is stuff that he would say himself. It's actually on his project that's about to drop at the end of the month.
Okay.
Yeah, Irons in the Fire. There's a song on there called Foolish.
I think Nelson was talking about this project.
Yeah. So this is nothing new. So anyway, we were gifted kind of with a hand-me-down.
Okay.
With a banging beat selection by a banging producer, T. Wilder. So Jay and Will had gone in on purchasing these beats, and they just kind of was like, yo, here you go. You and Ian can do your thing. You know what I'm saying? Now, mind you, there was a couple other brothers who were supposed to be on the project with me and Ian, and we kind of went through like redheaded stepchildren. I'm not talking about Ian per se. But yeah, eventually it got to the point where I think the Lord's will was just for us to do it together, just me and Ian. And now we have a project that we both love and enjoyed working together on, and I think Jay's happy and Will's happy and everybody's singing Kumbaya.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up.
I just want to piggyback real quick. So the Angel and the Branch, that was a custom beat by DJ Average Joe.
DJ Average Joe. Okay. So wait,
Yeah.
did the now this
Originally, I forget the name of the beat, but I had originally wrote that song to a Wu-Tang beat.
okay.
And I didn't want it to sound exactly like that beat. Obviously, I wanted the same, tempo and everything like that. But I told him, I said, this is the mood. This is kind of what I want to get across emotionally. Here's the lyrics. Here's the theology behind it. And he came up with a really dope beat. And then the beat for Judgment Tree, that actually wasn't in that folder from Zay. I had come across that beat. I was just looking at some of T. Willa's stuff, and so I just snatched it up. But yeah, most of the beats were from T. Willa.
Now, as far as
So
the
shout
layout,
out, bro.
right? So, as far as the layout of the album, can y'all explain the 10 tracks and how it was put together, like the order? Because I'm seeing Intro Supreme, Greater Supreme, and then Glory Supreme. Like, was there an intent behind the tracks being put the way they were?
I didn't even peep that. That's good, right?
Go ahead, Ian.
Yeah. So we actually had some assistance with that from Jay. Jay's kind of like this thematic mastermind. We had these.
You know what I'm gonna say. Sorry.
You say it.
I call him the P. Diddy, man. He's the P. Diddy of Wrath and Grace. I'm telling you, this dude always got some type of
It's funny because most people call him the Suge Knight.
The Suge Knight.
There
we go.
That's the other side.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yo, hold on, real
West
quick
Coast.
before this is how Jay approached me, right? This is the first time I go to Wrath and Grace conference, right? The first conference, I show up, and there had already been talks about me coming on board with Christcentric. It was like the rumors thing, going around. So I'm with my son, and you know me, I can tend to be a prideful dude. I'm a man, don't come at me. And so Jay introduces himself, and I'm like, yo, what up? And Jay's a little big, so I automatically got to put my chest out a little bit,
right.
What's going on, homie? Yeah, what up? And Jay's like, yo, so what's good? Are you down or what?
Yo.
I'm looking at my son. I'm like, what you mean? He goes, Christcentric. Like, is you down or what? I'm like, fam, I gotta pray about it. What you gotta pray about it for? You either down or not.
Wow.
That was my introduction to Jay. I was like, oh snap, this guy, man.
That's the other side.
Yeah, that was the Suge Knight of Jay right there, man.
That's
for real.
crazy, man.
My bad, Ian. Go ahead, brother.
No, it's okay. So, me and Abner, we just, or Stract, whatever. I've known you too long to call you
Yo,
Stract.
I'm Abner, Stract, whatever you want to call me. Yep, just don't call me late for dinner.
So we had all these beats, and we just listened to them, and we came up with ideas. And when we pinned ideas down, we just started writing, and then we went straight to Flores, and we recorded right behind the kitchen. And
Literally.
But Jay was really instrumental. He listened through the songs, multiple times. He tried to pull out different themes. He kind of basically tried to take a thread through a bunch of random songs and really kind of make like a cohesive whole of all of it. And that's kind of, I think, what Abner's getting to in some respects with this album kind of being a Frankenstein album. Gotcha. We had a bunch of people that were in and out. We had a bunch of different beats, we had a bunch of songs that kind of stand on their own as like their own sub themes. And we kind of just stitched them together and came up with Supreme.
Gotcha.
That's what's up. Kirk Kennedy said the only Supreme that was missing was Diana Ross and them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. Oh, come on. Josh Crease. He's funny. Speaking of Josh Crease, he's over here messaging me. Speaking of him, how was that? How was that having him on the track on Sin and Misery?
That was more of a surprise than anything.
Yeah, because he jumped on the chorus, him and Chris Jones.
Yeah. So that's another aspect of the Frankenstein dilemma going on. You know, the album was supposed to be like the post-production was supposed to be done by one person.
Mm-hmm.
Then it bounced to another group, and then it bounced to another group. So it was kind of being tossed around like a hot potato.
Okay.
You know, and at one point it was in Canada with Josh and his boy, and Josh has had his hands now in some Wrath and Grace stuff for a little bit. So he's been working with Jay. Jay's kind of been tossing some stuff for him to handle and take care of, and he's been a big help in that way. So when it landed on his lap, he really wanted to do a hook on it. Like, he was eager about doing it. And he hit us up and said, hey, yo, what do y'all think? And it just happened. It was cool. And then Chris was the last person to end up with the post-production. And that's when he laid down his vocals on the hook. And, you know, he's a smooth brother. So it just kind of fit.
Yeah, nah, it was perfect. I didn't know it went down like that. It almost seemed like the way the project, if you wouldn't have ever said it was the Frankenstein, I would have thought y'all just said, all right, we're going to do this, that, and the other, and y'all just had it all mapped out. So it ended up being a good product at the end of the day.
I feel like it might not have turned out as well if we were very meticulous about how we were going to order and structure it. Because there were times when we were like, all right, we're going to do it this way, and this is how it's going to be, and just like nothing panned out the way that we wanted it to. But God's providence.
That's
you know?
a fact. Yep.
Yeah, and speaking of Sin and Misery, that was my favorite verse from Stract. You came in and you just, I rewinded your verse probably like 10 times in a row. Ask Los.
Yeah. It was the drop.
Yeah, you came in and was like, I think you was dancing a little bit in the studio when you put that, when you laid that verse down, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, man. That's actually probably my favorite verse on the whole project.
Yeah, you definitely
I had that on there too.
Yeah. See, that's funny. It's funny that you said that. Yeah. So
I actually noted that you're feeling the track, like
y'all got off.
You were into that.
Oh yeah, I could.
You know
I mean, I have a tendency, like, you know, we've always talked about how when you make music, it's got to be something you feel, like it's got to be real and what's really going on. And Sin and Misery, as a Christian, relating to the sin within your own heart, it should come secondhand. Like, you should be well acquainted with your own sin. You know, especially being indwelt by the Spirit of God. So when it comes to writing a song like Sin and Misery and then exalting the Supreme Christ and his deliverance of you through that sin and misery, it should come real easy, and the beat just fit it, you know. It just worked.
Yeah.
Somebody in the comment section by the name of Nelson, he asked, why did Ian say the word covenant so much on the album?
Because covenant theology is biblical.
There we go. That was the first real conversation that I had with you. You know that, Ian.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I tried to convince you of what? Infant baptism?
You were proselytizing, like.
Yeah.
I was proselytizing.
Yeah, that was the first.
Right away.
He was here recording for your last project, and you were putting together some tracks with Los, you know, and then you just stopped in the middle of your session, was like, yo, let me tell you about. I was like, come on, man. Chill out.
And I just smiled because I was just like, I knew that was going to happen, you know.
It was like, yo, did you baptize your kids or not?
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. I was like, yo, don't you got some music to record?
I can multitask.
He definitely did, man. You definitely did. I was going to bring up Angel in the Branch, but you brought that up. But let me ask you this, though. When Angel in the Branch, you said the song came first and then you found another beat to put it to, right?
So I found a beat. I wrote to the beat, but obviously I couldn't use it.
Yeah.
So I sent it to Joe, and he built a beat for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did that process go? Because that was just your song. And the next song I'm going to ask Stract about is just his song too. But your song, your solo song, like, did you have that planned out? Like, I'm going to put this on the project, or it ended up being more like, I guess I could put this on the project. Was it definite going into the project?
Intended. So I had recorded that song. I had been working with Wrath and Grace when they originally announced, you know, that I was going to be working with Wrath and Grace, they released that song, but that was a while ago, and it hadn't been on any project, so it's not as though it had received, a lot of playtime.
Okay.
And so, Jay suggested it, and I was like, yeah, that's really not a bad idea. And for me, that song came out of a season of very deep depression and anxiety, and feeling the weight and accusations of Satan, and the guilt of my sin. And I had come across, that passage in Scripture, and it just really healed me in a lot of ways, to know that I have a high priest who stands ever before me in the heavens. No accusation can condemn me.
Amen.
Because my faithful Savior lives, and he bled and he died for me. So that was something that I just really wanted to commit to writing and share with others. So
That's what's up. Tunes play.
Yo.
How'd you come up with that one, Stract? Because that was your solo track.
Yeah. So, the theme of the album is Supreme, and it's hip-hop, so it's music. And I'm always being torn with how much of the world do I allow to entertain me. So the song kind of hits on the tunes of the world coming against the truth. So, and the tunes of the world similar to, so I think I had just watched the R. Kelly documentary, the first joint. And he's the Pied Piper. So that was in my mind, and I think I dropped that line somewhere in the song. And you have the tunes of the world constantly drawing people, constantly moving in people, and I think that's why I said the line about Casper, the word, are you taking it in, or is it going through you? Is it just going in and falling out? When you consider how much the world plays on your senses, visually, sonically, it's constantly pulling and tugging at you to draw you into its trap. And that's what the song is about, is how I'm constantly dealing with the two, but I know the world is a lie. So that's what the song's about. Tunes play. I can hear the tunes play.
Yeah, that joint was nice. It was different. It surprised me a little bit. It surprised me because it sounded like a different sound from you at first. But then once I heard the rest of the song, I was like, this is right up his alley right here.
Actually, it took me back to Ab's first album a little bit.
Oh, see, I never heard his first.
Yeah.
See, all I've heard from you is Windows and Mirrors.
Yeah.
That's because you slacking.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
But I also like the mention you made on perseverance at the end. I thought that was comforting, for those that are struggling with that.
Word.
And so can you talk about that a little bit? Why?
I don't know exactly what line you're talking about. I have a hard time remembering my bars. I'm not going to front. But I can imagine just, where my heart and mindset was at during the project as far as perseverance is concerned. The Lord is merciful and gracious toward his people, so though we get caught up and sometimes entangled in the things of the world, he is right there ready to deliver us always. Right. When Christ told the disciples how to pray, lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. The Lord delivers you from evil and from wickedness constantly. Ultimately at the cross, of course, we're made justified by the blood of Christ once and done. Right. But there's a constant deliverance that's always taking place from things that we would, be entertained with. Right. I mean, right now I think is one of those seasons with this whole COVID-19 thing where people can very easily become, captivated by the tunes of the world. Yeah. We're sitting back. Everybody got Netflix, Hulu, Netflix, dog.
About to get something started up, man.
It's a flukes, man. I'm telling you.
That's a Latino version.
Yeah, word up.
Yo, let me listen, man. I was watching Netflix the other day.
Yo, lo que pasa? Yo, my grandson Leighton, he says Hulu. Yo, shout out to my wife, she's on here. But yeah, the Lord will persevere us. It's a fact. He will keep us. He will fulfill the Father's will, regardless of how many times you get caught up in the tunes of the world.
Amen.
Remember, the Lord is faithful, and He will restore you always.
Yeah, I thought that was good because I felt like I was feeling the track, I was listening, and just wondering too about those that are there, just distracted, and also have failed.
Yeah.
And so the doctrine of perseverance is a comfort.
Yes.
You know, and I felt that in the song. You know, it was almost like you were being honest, but yet there was that anchor at the end of the day. You know, so I thought that was a good.
Yeah, I talk
good way
about
to
the
close
one
it
point
out.
where I say, but I know that I'm not like you, you know, and I know that I'm not there, and I've been saved, and I'm loved by you, but there's also this struggle that I have where I know that I'm not like you.
Right.
I'm not holy like you in and of myself. So I need you for me to be able to function even in that relationship.
Yeah.
You know, I need him to be able to do so, because if not, looking at everything in this world, I would continue to see myself in light of the world, but I need to see myself in light of him and who he is. So there's the comfort. And that's in the entire album. I mean, he is the supreme. He's the supreme tune. You know, he's the supreme sound, the supreme visual. He is supreme.
Amen.
Nelson said every time that Stract sings, it makes me think his rap voice is fake.
Yo, you gotta be able to do both, brother. You gotta be multifaceted, man.
If Drake can do it, Stract can do it.
Hey, I was doing it before Drake, B. Word up. I'm going back to 06 with it.
Oh man, so Ian, let me ask you something, man, because you and Stract, y'all got different styles in y'all rap. Y'all got just different ways y'all attack tracks. How does that work now? Do you like to go first and then let him follow up, or how do you like to really combat that right there?
I don't really think I thought about that too much. We just kind of sometimes, you know, because we did a lot of the recording, you know, at his place at Flores. So, you know, he had a lot of time to record when he had opportunity to. I drove about an hour and a half, 2 hours to get to the studio. So, you know, sometimes I'd get there and no one's recorded anything. And it's like, all right, let's get started. You want to go first? Okay. You know, other times I'd get there and, you know, he had already gotten some work done. And I don't think there was too much thought into order. What do you think, Adam?
Yeah, I don't think we were trying to fit one another.
Okay.
You know, it was just Ian does what he does, I do what I do, and you know, there's people who appreciate what we do, and it'll just work. Some won't appreciate it, and some will. I mean, it is what it is, you know.
Yeah.
So
Y'all complimented each other well. That's why I was asking. Like, it must just be natural. That was good.
yeah, I mean, we have a good relationship. You know,
Yeah.
we got mad love for each other. So we enjoy each other. We enjoy being around one another. We have fun with each other. So it was real easy.
Too much fun some nights.
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes a little bit too much fun.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of prayer as well, a lot of serious talks, you know, ministering to one another as well. Yeah, it all went hand in hand. I mean, we're brothers in Christ ultimately, first and foremost. So we're MCs second. I mean, and that came out in the project.
You know, we have a lot of history too. You know, I was in Bible college at Lancaster, you know, and I started going to the gathering, and, you know, that's where I met Los and Abner. And so we had an entire relationship leading up to this. And, you know, I hadn't seen him or talked to him for a very long time. And so it was just kind of like back to the old days, you know, when we started spending time together, talking on the phone, talking about the project, getting together, recording. So, you know, there was a feeling of like I said, back to the old days. And I think that fueled a lot of juice behind the project.
Yeah.
That's what's up. Well, this was a long time. This is a long time coming right here, cause y'all known each other for years now, and this is your first project together, right?
Yeah.
That's what's up, man. It was perfect timing. Let's get into some of the features.
Yeah, for sure.
Some of the features. Y'all had Tony from Hazakim.
He did the hook, right?
Yeah.
On the intro.
Yeah,
That's the second feature I've heard from him just recently. Like he's killing stuff right now. Like how did that come about? Yeah.
Again, I think that was more of a Wrath and Grace, Johan thing. You know, Tony was actually the one working on the post-production to begin with. Okay. So he was able to add some of his creativity to it, and that's how the intro came about.
He makes beats too.
He does.
So
Yeah.
He does.
What's up, bro?
That's Tony from Hazakim beat yet. I'm kind of bitter about that.
Yeah, he's definitely a talented brother, man. I mean, his discography speaks for itself.
Yeah. Veteran, for sure. Mad respect.
Yeah, for sure.
Then on the third track, you had Joshua Crease and Chris Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we talked about that one a little bit.
Yeah, that was just a dope. Like I said, that was my favorite song on the project. And y'all had Luke Walker.
Yeah.
How did that come about? Because Luke Walker had a nice little interlude there where he was just going on about Christ being greater and he is the supreme.
It was supposed to be even more epic.
Okay, so what? Okay, so give us the story because y'all got a million stories on this. I'm going to need a documentary. Like Dreamville, they came out with the documentary that went alongside. Huh?
I have an idea, but what are you gonna say, man?
Oh no, I was gonna say Dreamville. They came out with the documentary that came out with the project. So I'm gonna need y'all's background on this, where y'all go live and talk about all the stories that happened and get us more excited for it, man. This is dope. Y'all have so many stories.
Okay, so it started like this. Abner told me, he said, take this knife. He said, go down to the pond. It's dark out. You got to go all the way down there.
Royal Rangers, holla.
All the way back.
Jay knows about that. That's throwback.
You said it was supposed to be more epic. How did that go right there though? Like y'all just called him up, yo, Luke, we need an interlude.
Nah, it was there was some convos going on Facebook Messenger between Luke and another brother, and it was supposed to be really epic.
Okay.
And I think it just fell through because of timing and how long the project took to come out.
Okay.
But Ian has some.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
now.
Ian has some pretty good ideas, and it would have been pretty funny, man. It would have added a comedic element to the album for sure. It would have been good.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to speak to that at all, brother, but
let's keep that under wraps because maybe we could do something with that in the future.
Hey.
That's what's up.
I'll just leave it at this. We were gonna do a skit. Someone was going to get arrested. I'll just leave it at that.
Will Mendoza.
I mean, when you look at him and me in the video, who you think's gonna get arrested?
Oh, okay, between y'all, okay.
Nah,
Dang, yo, that's wild.
Like the way he just laid that up, like, damn, I feel like I already got to put my arms behind my back.
Somebody was. That's what's up, man. This was an all around good project. Like I said to you earlier, I'm still having to go back and listen to some things. What do you think is going to be slept on? One of those things that somebody might not get until maybe the third or fourth time listening to this project.
Oh, I mean, I think most times when I make music, when I write, there's going to be stuff that you have to go back and listen to over and over again because there's layers. So that's definitely going to happen. And I mean, even when you talk about some of the stuff Ian's rapping about, like Judgment Tree, for example, it's very theological. It's very in-depth doctrinally. So there's going to be a lot of stuff that you're constantly going back. So on the lyrical aspect, on the scholarly level, like there's things where you can go back in and you're gonna struggle to find what's there on the first, second, third, fourth listen. So
yeah, it was good. Somebody asked, where was MC Goya?
Goya is on hiatus, man. I think he's like in Cuba somewhere on
Is
the
he
beach.
quarantining somewhere?
Yeah, he's out. He's been quarantined though.
Yeah.
He's been chilling.
He started the quarantine.
And that man's whole career.
Somebody ended him. He might come back at some point. I might throw him on my next project. I don't know. I might holler at him.
Norm said Ian need to be arrested by the fashion police sporting that Eagles gear.
Hey, chill out, Norm. Norm, chill out. Be easy, Norm.
You don't like champions? You don't like that?
He's a troll. He's the troll. You see the beard on that dude.
So let me ask y'all this now. Let me ask y'all this. Because, I mean, we gave y'all our opinions, and people are going to give y'all their opinions. What's y'all opinions on the project? Like, what's your favorite tracks? What was the funnest track to make? What was one of those songs maybe you were writing and you had to pray a little bit more, maybe study a little bit more?
Go ahead, Ian.
The funnest track for me, oddly enough, is the intro. I just had a lot of fun with that track. I loved going back and forth with Ab. Greater, that took some time. You know, it wasn't so much like a lot of study time. It was more like just thinking through how I wanted to write it and how I wanted to make it both theological and personal. I wanted to bring together, you know, God is holy and other, and he is so beyond us. The distance between God and the creature is so great. But yet Jesus comes to us in human flesh, and he's accessible. And so it wasn't so much study, but more of just like thinking through, you know, how do I want to pair God being so different from us, so holy, and also being accessible. And then also the idea that God in Christ is so much greater, and yet he came and took the form of a servant. There was a lot of like going back and forth between ideas. It was a lot of balancing that I had to do. So that took a lot of thought.
About you?
What was the question again?
Well, just some of y'all personal opinions on the project. What was the funnest track? What was one of those tracks maybe you had to study a little bit more for, maybe pray a little bit harder on before you actually wrote it all out? Maybe you had to go back and fix something, or...
Yeah, I definitely had to go back and fix No One Can Flee.
Okay.
So I wrote that as a diss track.
Okay.
Like straight up. I was coming at dudes that was, and I'm not going to go into detail, but that was...
Calling themselves the rap god and all that?
No, it was closer to home.
Closer to home. That's exactly what I said.
Yeah, similar but closer to home.
I heard that in there, so I was just wondering too, like.
Yes, but I got real, like I was exposing some stuff that, you know, could have came back, and I think some people that had to approve it to go through got a little shook. They was like, I don't know, you should do this right now, and it was wise. I'll take it for what it is. I mean,
it couldn't have been the Suge Knight.
I got it in the.
It couldn't have been the Suge Knight that was scared.
If y'all want to hear it at some point, though,
you can send it right this way.
But
you can send it right this way.
There was just some stuff going on, and I you know, honestly, I'm glad it did get held back, just because I think I was a little jumping the gun a little much.
But that was a punchy joint, man.
It was it's still a punchy joint, yeah.
From the gate, the track just jumped on you.
Right, it's still a punchy joint. There's a lot of lines in there. Nelson was hitting me up, throwing stuff at me like, yo, you said this, you said that. And there's a lot of punchy stuff still in there. There was more on the first one, though.
Okay.
Coming out the gate the way I did, and just a lot of the stuff I was saying. And the hook was completely different. I had like a... similar to how I did on the one song in Windows and Mirrors, where I have like the Jamaican swag a little bit. What's the song called? I can't remember what the song is called. This is Kurt's favorite joint. I can't remember. See, I be having horrible memory with my tracks, B. But anyway, I did like it was like Wrath or grace, this judgment no one can flee. You see what you want see, but one will be given to thee. It was like that. Like that was the hook. And,
Yeah, I like that.
And dudes was like, I don't like that, John. And then so they threw Zay on it behind my back. They, they ain't even let me know. Wifey's still mad about that. She don't even like hearing the song straight up. Nothing against Zay. Zay's my man. That's my dude. But it's a reality, it's real out here. So, but now my favorite song to do, I think, was apart from Sin and Misery, which I loved working on with Ian, just to kind of how different we were on that song. I think it really added to it.
Yeah.
But the Tunes Play was probably the one I felt the most. It was the one I felt the most. It was very personal for me. Actually, when I started writing it, I began weeping. Like when I considered how that section I was telling you about, how, but I know that I'm not like you. Like that whole, I was speaking with the Lord in that song. Like I'm praying and talking to the Lord with that song. So, and those usually are the songs that really get me. They come out better. So Tunes Play is probably my joint. But for Ian's joints, both of them joints was banging, and the beats was crazy. I hit him up the other day. I was like, "Yo, fam, I love Judgment Tree. Like the concept, the concept behind it. You can see it on the cover. That's just the reality. So, yeah,
that's good.
What are some hopes and goals you guys have for this project? Like going into it, I'm sure you had one idea, and then by the end of the project, what do you hope to accomplish with this project right here? What do you some of the things that you're praying for to see as a result?
Go ahead, brother.
The first thing, and I was just blown away by seeing an answer to prayer, even just like the first day it dropped. The first thing that I really wanted to see was just God's people be encouraged by the gospel. And I just, Carlos Newton, shout out to Carlos Newton for the review. I
wasn't going to mention his name.
He really talked about how encouraging the album was. So that was huge for me. I heard a couple other people say that too as well.
Why you laughing, Wayne?
I'm listening.
You on the camera?
Yo, let me listen to Ian, yo. I'm trying to listen to Ian, but your comment on the side had me laughing a little bit. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ian. My bad.
I'm not cut.
I'll just finish my Sonic joint.
No, a lot of people said they were very encouraged by it. There's kind of two things we hold in front of us, ministry-wise. We want to encourage the church, and we want to call the lost to repentance, that they would be saved and that they would know their Savior. And so that's kind of the goals and aspirations. Ahead of the project, I really just wanted to push myself. Not in terms of like doing something I already did better, but trying out different rhyme schemes, different styles of spitting. So, yeah.
I think you accomplished that. That's great. And I'm glad to hear that the Saints were encouraged by it. I was encouraged, and I heard it today, and I was listening to it. Like I told Stract, I probably listened to it maybe 4, maybe 5 times right before he got here. So I just had it on repeat and just kept on playing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the goal ultimately, of course, is to see the Lord seen as supreme. He is supreme. We want to put Christ at the forefront. He's greater than any concept, any idea, any belief system, any structure, any culture, anything developed by mankind in our own hearts. The Lord is greater than all of the above. So that's the main idea behind the project. And that was easy for me and Ian because we both, wholeheartedly believe that. So that was the easy part. I think the other part is just to kind of show, even though some people think this is strictly like a boom bap type joint, there's a lot of, I think, in my opinion, variety going on in the project. So showing some versatility on my part, being able to do things a little bit differently, even being able to work with someone who is so different than I am sonically, and Ian, So like me and Bobby did a project back in the day, Bloodbath Staff, and it was called So Deep. But me and Bobby, you know, we come from a very similar background. It's very, you know, we're able to relate to each other musically a lot easier, you know. So it was a little different coming in with Ian, though me and him have such a good relationship. We're so different sonically, you know. So even though we like a lot of the same, like Ian's a boom bap head. If people don't know that, Ian get down with some boom bap.
Definitely,
you know what I mean?
definitely peep that.
You could tell in the
that.
2 beats he picked. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we are definitely different. He comes more of like a Tim Brindle type. You know what I mean? Like he has more of that side of him. Very unique though, I think, from Tim Brindle also, but more along that vein. You know, where I'm not in that vein. You know, I'm on the other side probably.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, that for me I thought was one of my efforts, but also even just to be seen. You know, every MC wants to be seen and heard. At the end of the day, you want to be acknowledged for what you're doing. You know, and it's not an egotistical, yo, I need your praise thing, but it's, you know, I'm doing the work and I'd like for people to see it and appreciate it.
I wanted to add that, you know, I've been in Christian hip hop since 1990, so I can't remember of an album where I heard of someone, artists getting together like, let's say, a Shaolin and a Jafia Life. You know what I'm saying? You didn't see that a lot in Christian hip hop. You didn't see the Tim Brindles and, you know.
Well, that's new, even on the secular side of things, really. And I think that was made popular with Watch the Throne. Remember that? That kind of set off a bunch of that.
Yeah.
And then now it's making its way over here to the
Christian hip hop. In some years went through a lot of like just divide too. Camps were formed, and it was like almost understood that we don't roll with them, they don't roll with us. You know, we're theological, we're biblical, and some others weren't as theological on the face, but approached it another way, and there was almost like this divide. You know what I'm saying? And what you were saying was just like, I don't think I ever heard that. One album where cats got together that sounded differently and came off on different angles, but it worked, you know? So it's pretty dope now that I think about it.
Yeah, I'm still stuck off the realness. Nah, I'm still stuck off the fact that y'all had the DJ scratching it off. It's been a while, man. It's been a while since I heard a project like that. And it's funny that y'all use T. Walla beats on this, because the last time that I heard that was by somebody who was rapping on some T. Walla beats. My man from Say Louder Corner. Say Louder Corner. Say Louder Corner. His project. I forget the name of the project, but the DJ was scratching it off. That was the last time I heard that, and that was probably like 4 years ago. And yeah, I can only name a couple projects within the last couple years that had the DJ scratching off.
Yeah, that was I think Johan's doing.
Okay.
Yeah, he sent it off to Average Joe. Was like, scratch it up, you know. And I had heard Joe scratch plenty of times before. He's done a lot of work with Lamp Mode.
Yeah.
And he did the Mosaic with Zay. You know, he was all over the Mosaic scratching it up. So I had heard his stuff before. So when I heard he was gonna be on it, I was excited about that. I thought that was a dope addition.
Yeah, getting a DJ on is
and he's a good DJ, man. He knows what he's doing.
Elements of hip hop, you know what I'm saying? So once you put that in the mix.
Plug real quick. If you are watching and you need some scratches, please reach out to DJ Average Joe and give him your money and your time. He will make you some dope music, some dope beats, and some rowdy scratches.
Yeah, he's nice with it, man, for real. And he's a good dude, man.
He loves the Lord.
Yes, he does. Yep.
It's good.
Did we miss anything? I'm asking that because somebody the one time was like, man, I wish I could have. It was Kirk Kennedy. He said, man, I wish y'all know me. I'll drop a name here and there. It was Kirk Kennedy. He said, man, I wish I would have got into some of the content or some of the things that I wanted to say. And y'all got anything that I missed?
Let me ask a question. Okay, so Abner, when we first started this, and it was you and me and Zay, and we were just talking on the phone about what we wanted to do, one of the things that you said was, obviously, I want this to be something that the church can be encouraged by, but I want this to be a project that any dude on the street can listen to and nod his head to and rock out to. So my question for the three of you is that, do you think that's something that we accomplished?
You turn the tables on us.
That's a serious question.
That is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Let me say it like this. I guess I got to jump in and do this first, right? Y'all put me on the spot first. All right. Okay. So look, I think that there's some tracks for the church that the streets and regular dude probably won't understand. Just based off of the fact that some of the vocab that y'all used, right? But I bet you this. I bet you the ones that they don't understand, they're going to ask somebody. Or they're going to go and look it up. All the times that you mentioned covenant, and I told Los that as a rapper, I hear you use prototype a lot. So I said, all those times that these words are mentioned, and a regular dude hears them, he's going to want to go and look that stuff up. So yeah, I think y'all accomplished both. I think y'all encouraged the church, and there was some tracks on here that I feel like anyone could easily be able to bop to. Now, I do think there's going to be some questions that they ask because y'all ain't some simple rappers. Y'all rap pretty deep. The way that y'all cover topics, I think that y'all go pretty deep with it, and that's a good thing. That's a compliment.
Yeah. I remember being a regular dude. You know, like I didn't.
So you're not a regular dude no more?
No, I just mean like I remember.
I'm messing with you.
I know. No, I just remember being drawn to the gospel and listening to sermons for the first time in my life, but especially listening to Christian hip hop and coming across a ton of, I didn't know what sanctification was.
Right.
Like, what is that? You know, lots of words being thrown out by dudes like Evangel, Shylin, Timothy Brent, like a lot of the Lamp Mode cats, and not knowing anything about those words. And I remember spending a lot of time just Googling stuff, just constantly. So I'm glad you brought that up. It's a good point.
That's good. How about you, Los? You think they accomplished that?
I think so. I think the one thing I like about hip hop, pure hip hop, you know, is that the best hip hop I've heard was it came from artists that weren't preoccupied with what people thought.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
They just gave it to you raw.
They just gave it to you the way it was.
Yeah.
And sometimes that preoccupation is distracting to an artist. They cater more to a crowd than to actually create. And I know these guys and I know what they do. And that's what they do, you know. But they lace their creativity with theology, with the God-exalting message, with the gospel. And, you know, it's his word at the end of the day. And if he's exalted, then people will be drawn to him, you know, to him through the gospel.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think it'll accomplish what God wants it to accomplish, you know. And it's weird because I think I've heard stories, too, of people hearing Shylin as an unbeliever, you know, and they were somehow curious and wanted to know exactly what he was talking about. Yeah. And in doing that, they ended up coming to Christ because of it. You know what I'm saying? So they wanted to know what these things were, and then they looked in the Bible for some reason, and then all of a sudden their eyes were open. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I agree. As you're thinking, as you're talking about that, I'm thinking. I remember one time. I don't know if you guys watch the Backpack Rappers on YouTube and stuff. They be having competitions all the time.
Backpack?
Yeah. And they were having some type of cipher, and this dude went off and just spit mad anime bars. And I don't watch anime. But I remember going to Google and trying to understand it, like, yo, what did he say when he... All right, let me look this up. I looked up the name. I couldn't even spell it right, but I typed that joint in and tried to figure it all out. And like 20 minutes after I heard the verse, I actually had to go back. I listened to it again. I was like, word, that was hot.
Yeah.
So I think people are going to do the same thing with some of these, like Ian was saying, sanctification, just words like that. When you hear those things, it's going to make you go and look it up. At least if you enjoy, the art. If you enjoy the art, this is definitely for people that love hip hop.
Yeah.
So I'll be completely transparent. Back when we started talking about doing this project was probably, I'm going to say at least 2.5 years ago now. That was when we first started talking about it. And I think I do remember saying something like that because that would have been something that I would have said frequently. That was something that I definitely was motivated by, even in our time with All for Souls, because we were doing so much street evangelism at that time. Like, I wanted the street dudes on the corner to hear what I was saying and feel it and be like, yeah, that's what I want to hear. Let me put that in my whip, But I think I've grown from that. I think I've pulled away from that somewhat. Not that it's not important.
I know what you mean.
But it's not the main thing anymore, And mind you, it's funny because, like, if me and Ian was to go on stage in the hood right now, they would not expect Ian to be spitting bars. Ian be rocking Skechers on the stage, like, "Hey, what's up, guys? I'm here."
Skechers. You dare? How dare you?
But the reality is, you can't deny his ability. You can't deny his skill. He's skilled. You know what I'm saying? So as an MC, you have to respect it.
He was right at home here, man.
Yo, at home. I mean, he does it well. So, but I wasn't worried about how much people in the street will receive what we're doing because, like his wife says, Erin commented here and she said the Spirit of God will do the work. Right. The Spirit of God will do the work regardless of who is listening. And I think hip hop culture has changed dramatically as well. Like, you got guys like what's the Jewish dude's name, Lil Dicky or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, he don't look like no rapper. You know what I'm saying?
He doesn't, but boy,
he can rap. Yeah. I wouldn't say go listen to his content. I'm sorry, Ian. Go ahead. What'd you say?
I said he's pretty foul, but he is super, super talented.
Super talented, but he is very foul. Don't go listen to this content if you ain't got mature ears.
I always think of MC Surge or the Beastie
Surge,
Boys.
Surge back in the day. But Surge was New York though. Surge was New York.
So
hip hop has changed, man. Yeah. You don't have to look a specific way. You know who helped me actually grow out of that a little bit? Jay. Jay had that mindset. Like, I don't have to fit a certain mold to be hip hop. I just am hip hop.
Right.
So I think since then, Ian, I have somewhat grown from that need to sound street all the time and to have people and it's kind of, I've just been able to just be me, on the track and just be experimental.
Those are always the best ones.
I think so too.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think so too.
That's what I was saying is I think hip hop has lost that essential quality of just let's create, let's make music just because we love the music. In our case, it's because we love God, So, yeah.
Kurt's helped me a lot with that, too, recently. Getting with Kurt on a regular basis. Like, he just lets the beats talk to him and let me just make music.
Right. Yeah, the way he comes off on his music, he don't care what people think. Right. He going to say what he going to say. And that's one thing I really appreciate, about him. And then Beautiful Eulogy on a different angle, for instance, as an example, when I listen to them, they just do what they want to do with music.
Right.
They sound different, but that's their own sound. I love that about hip hop.
And I think it's going to, like the next album I do might change. I might have a bent one way, Like when I first did Not the Norm, I was very focused on reaching those I had left behind. My friends, my family that I was no longer getting with on a regular basis. I really wanted to reach them with this project because I left a 26, double CD album on the table that I had recorded with a group, and I just left and walked away. They had shows lined up, and I left them. So I felt the need to reach them, similar to Tim when he did his first joint and he had that song on there.
I remember that.
That song was a banger. He was talking along the same lines, trying to reach those he left behind, and he wanted them to see his heart. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah.
Let me ask y'all something, because I'm noticing something. I'm noticing that y'all wives have been on with us this whole time. Yo, they've been
That's
in
the
that
other half
comment
of the
section.
squad.
Yo.
That's the other half of the squad.
Sitting right next to me.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. My bad. So look, check this out though, because for real, your wife could have just been like laying down and doing her own thing, but she is tuned in. Let me ask y'all, how did y'all other halves? How did they play into this project? Because it's always the family that plays into this project as well.
Without them, there is no project, man. That's a fact.
Yep. Aaron was awesome. Oh my gosh. I mean, like, I was out late nights. You know, I'd be gone for work all day long. She'd be at home all day with the kids and working part-time from home. You know, and usually, you know, she's looking forward to me coming home, you know, because I can help her with the kids and get them into bed. But on those nights, you know, when I would have to go down to Lancaster to record, I mean, I wouldn't get home till 12, 1:30 in the morning, you know, and so then she has to do it the next day all over again until I come home from work. So super, super supportive and sacrificial as far as that goes. And also very encouraging. You know, when I felt discouraged at different points, and that happens, you know, whenever you're making anything or doing anything really, she was just so encouraging. So I just, you know, shout out to my godly wife. She's the best.
Yeah, same here, man. My wife is that's my number one fan.
She really is, yo.
Yeah, she'll rap my lyrics before I remember them. You know what I'm saying? Word up. Yo.
So snatch the mic from you and start spitting like.
Listen,
she's like, yo, I'm gonna let you go, but I'm gonna say this first.
Yo, even back in the day before we was married, I remember I would be rocking the show and she'd be in the audience, and out of everybody there, she was the gulliest, like going hard.
All right, that's what's up, man.
That's how it be, man. Wifey got my back, man. That's my number one trooper right there. Word up.
That's what's up, man. Well, let's put some plugs in. Let's put some plugs in before we close shop on this one. Where can we get the project? It is called Supreme. It's under how'd y'all name it with the y'all don't have a rap duo name, do y'all? It's just Stract and Ian Buchanan.
Yep.
And in some places you might see the artist as Wrath and Grace and Christcentric.
Okay, got you.
That's the way it is in Amazon, at least.
But it's definitely called Supreme, just one word, Supreme. And you can find that on, I'm sure,
iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you listen to music, you can find it there.
In the words of Johan, it's everywhere except for Bandcamp.
Yeah, that's what he said. Word up.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
That covers all the bases. Is there anything else you guys want to put out there that you guys are doing that they can check out?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm always on Cross Examine. Me and Kurt doing the thing over there. We're actually going to do a show on Friday. We'll have the show drop. We're going to talk about the same thing, talk about the project. Also, I am working on a new project, a solo album. So, you know, I'm not sure when it's going to drop, but I'm looking to have it out before 2021. So, yeah, keep your eyes posted for that joint. It's going to be a little different. People probably going to hear me on stuff they didn't expect to hear me on.
I like that about you because I'm limited to what I've heard, but some of the stuff that I've heard, I can see the evolution, the growth, and the maturity, and even the fact that you're willing to start switching it up this long after you started rapping.
Yeah, I think I'm just like, yo, I got a 17-year-old son, man. You know what I mean? And I want him to like my music. so I'm just diving in and trying to see what I can transfer over from my traditional. You know, there's certain things I'll be able to and certain things I just won't be able to. Yeah. I mean, I'll put on some of these new beats, some of these new producers, and I can't get inspired. You know, it's just a reality. But if some of it has a little bit of this or a little bit of that is reminiscent to what I love, then I'll be able to work it out and do something with it. Or just to be real, I'll throw on a Premiere beat and write to that and then transfer it over to the other beat and then just kind of maneuver it so it fits.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what's up.
We gotta be willing to grow with the culture, man. You gotta be willing to grow with hip hop. Like there was a time when hip hop was very just Then it went that like, and then it switched back, and then, it's all over the place, man. Hip hop is. I always thought, like, a lot of people back in the day used to tell me, "Yo, don't be singing on your music, man. That's corny. Like, that's not hip hop. Don't sing on your joints." Like, fam, but it's either I sing on that joint or I gotta go find somebody to do it.
Right.
Get them to come into the studio when they ready and all of that nonsense. Like, you know what? I'm just gonna sing on it. If it come off good, cool. If not, then we switch it up. So that kind of thing. I'm willing to do that, man. I think it's necessary.
Yeah, that's what's up.
How about you, Ian? What you got going on? Is there anything that we can look forward to after this project?
Yeah, so I won't, although some people probably know the name of it from some shows I've done, but I'm working on a solo project. It's taking a little bit of time, but I am working on it. It's a biblical theology of the covenant of grace. So it's going to be some real deep, rugged, confessional, reformed, lyrical theology. So, pray for me. I had to do a lot of study ahead of the project, and I'm just starting to, I put it down for a little bit, and I'm just starting to pick it back up again. So appreciate your prayers about that.
Yeah.
Let me see. Jay Diddy said, "Thanks for all your hard work, Ian and Stract. You created some great art. Thankful to the Lord for y'all brothers."
Thank you, bro. Thanks for all your support and the mastermind work you put into it. For all the love, man. You got with us and gave us your time throughout the last couple years, and yeah, man, we've developed a good relationship. That's my dude, man. Juan is that dude.
Yeah, you gave us an opportunity that was just something that we're so thankful for. So thank you so much.
Appreciate it, bro.
Yeah.
He's a good brother, reaching out to dudes and giving them platforms.
Yeah.
He's a
good
dude.
networker.
Yeah, he
and
is.
Exhorter. He's a good encourager and very creative.
Yeah, man.
Has a ton of ideas.
I think back in the day, he would have been my connect. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Back in the day.
Yeah, pre-Christ.
Right.
Sometimes I look at what Jay's doing, I'm like, what am I doing right now?
Yeah. Right.
What would Johan do? Anyway.
Supreme 2. Look at him. Supreme 2.
Supreme 2. There it go.
Do it.
Oh, man. But anyway, it was great having y'all. I hope that we can have y'all back again soon. Maybe Supreme 2. Who knows?
I ain't listen, I'm down.
Let's do it.
Yeah, that's my man.
Maybe we can get that skit we've been waiting for.
Word. You won't see it for another 10 years, but it might happen.
Well, thanks everyone for joining us. Make sure you go on wrathandgrace.com, get the album, go to iTunes, go to all the different platforms except Bandcamp, was it?
Yeah.
All right.
It's everywhere but Bandcamp.
I don't know why. We don't know why.
That is
Everywhere but
Yeah,
Bandcamp.
Right. So
There we
make sure
go.
you support the brothers, support the ministry, and get some good doctrine. You get some good doctrine on the album. And if you know someone who could be encouraged by it, buy it for them. You can gift it on iTunes. I do that here and there. But yeah, spread the word on the album. Supreme, Wrath and Grace, and Christcentric on iTunes and other platforms. Support the brothers, support the ministry on Wrath and Grace, wrathandgrace.com. And what's Christcentric's website? Christcentric.com?
Yeah, ChristcentricRecords.com.
Records.com.
Yeah.
So make sure you go there. And is it on sale also on the website?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
But go there, check it out. Check out the other artists, support, and pray for them too. Pray that God will
Please.
continue to use them and continue to do good music. We need it, especially in this world right now. The way everything is, we need the gospel.
Yes.
We need Jesus. And so support the brothers, support wrathandgrace.com. Thank you for joining us, and we'll be back again doing another album review soon enough, hopefully from one of them that when they finish their solo albums, that'd be pretty dope to do. So make sure you support.
Yeah,
RathandGrace.com.
Supreme. Stract and Ian Buchanan, man. Thank y'all.
All right. Grace and peace.
God bless.
All right, thanks. Take care.
Hey,
All
wait. Did you already hit the
No,
done
go
button?
ahead.
Don't forget to check out the basement this Wednesday.
Right. 9 p.m.
We going live this Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, episode 48, Faith Alone. We're going to be talking about the second solo that we're going to be covering.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about the Faith Alone solo. So anyway, y'all make sure y'all check us out.
Ian put the heart in. What are you doing, bro? They can see it. All right. Anyway, grace and peace.
All right, y'all.